Alright, so Shuri got buffed, and the problem with Shuri before her buff was that her ramp up was just like abysmal, man. It took so long to do, and that's why people like kind of didn't really want to use her, right? But now the ramp up is just so much better. So you're gonna see right here, this is pre-buff Shuri gameplay. You had to stack like 99 shocks and then 99 critical shocks, and it was just not fun at all, right? But now the cap is 50 for each, so it just makes things a lot easier, and she's more practical to play as well because now she can just refresh her shocks on every special attack, not just the SP2. And so yeah, she just feels a lot better to play overall, and this pre-buff gameplay, it's just not it, man. I wasn't the biggest fan of pre-buff Shuri. I feel like she did have her utility for sure. And like that's the thing with Shuri. She always had her utility. Like, don't get me wrong, she's always been a utility beast, but the damage output was just pretty lacking in every scenario except for long fights pretty much. But yeah, here's the pre-buff gameplay fight time. I think it's about like 230 something, which is like, you know, it's like Atuma levels of not that good, right? So now let's look at the buffed gameplay, right? Let's see how fast she does this short fight. Shuri was never good for short fights when she was like not buffed, but now she's honestly pretty decent for them because her ramp up time is nowhere near as bad as it once was. So we can just ramp the shocks a lot faster and she becomes like a much more easier time. And additionally, the SP1 now refreshes her shocks, so it makes this rotation a lot more practical. So yeah, just a really awesome change overall. She just feels a lot better to play now, to be honest. And yeah, she's actually like decent for short fights now, which is pretty dang sweet because, you know, Battlegrounds is a thing, and before buff she just wasn't good for Battlegrounds at all, to be honest, because of like her fight time. But now it's kind of like it's changed for the better, like 100%. And yeah, now we have like 30 critical shocks on. We're doing about 2,000 damage like per tick. It's pretty nice. And yeah, the fight's just pretty much done from here, man. Just a really like clean fight overall. She's a really like fluid character. She's pretty smooth to play. And yeah, the fight time, not even that bad. I think it was like 52 seconds, which, you know what? We'll take it, man. That's pretty decent. And now we have like a little bit of a higher health pool with Lunar Soldier here. This is like 550,000 health, and she takes it a lot faster than before. I think it was like about a 40-second difference, which is definitely noticeable for sure. Like, that is really, really good. But on top of that, it just like you add more practicality onto the character as well. So it's just a really good buff overall, in my opinion. And like that kind of leaves the question, is she like a new tech queen? Because here's the thing. Pre-buff Shuri had like a lot of utility, right? She had her shock, she had her shock immunity, she had her dexterity immunity, she has her non-contact attacks, she has the untouchable, she just has a lot going on for her as well. She has the perfect parries. There's just like a lot of good things about her, right? And the only problem was that her damage output just didn't contend with the utility, but now it kind of does. So it like leads to the question, is she like a new tech queen? Is she like, you know, one of the top dogs of the tech class? Only time will tell, but honestly, I could definitely see it happening because she is a 7-star, right? And 7-star Shuri must be a crazy good character, I would imagine. So yeah, I definitely want a 7-star Shuri now because she's honestly pretty dang solid. Between the two buffs, I feel like Atuma got like the biggest impact, but Shuri was like already pretty decent, so I feel like she might be the better character overall. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm gonna be biased here. Atuma is a water champion. He's automatically better. It's just how it is. I'm sorry, guys. That's just the rules. I don't make them up. It's just how it is. Atuma, he is the GOAT, and I love him so much. But Shuri's great as well. Don't get me wrong. This is her video. We're talking about Shuri. So yeah, the fight's going pretty well. We have 50 critical shocks now. So yeah, the damage output is looking pretty dang sweet. So now we can just rush to the SP3, and yeah, the fight's just pretty much over. The SP3 does increase damage output like per debuff on the opponent and per shock passive on the opponent. So yeah, just at least a lot of damage, and it's pretty nice. I don't think it one-shots here, unfortunately. I think I like didn't get enough shocks on, but it doesn't matter because the shocks aren't consumed, and that's why she's like really good for like very high helpful fights because the shocks never go away pretty much. So yeah, it's just a pretty awesome time there. And yeah, that fight was about 156, which is like 36 seconds faster than like the pre-buff Shuri, which is a very good improvement for sure. So yeah, just overall pretty awesome buff in my opinion. I feel like she went from like a already decent tech character to just a very solid tech character. So yeah, pretty nice. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on Shuri. For me personally, I feel like, you know what, a pretty successful buff. And yeah, it's about for me.